What's the theme of this solar eclipse in Libra? I described in this video that this eclipse in Libra, it belongs to a solar eclipse series called Saros Series 7 South. The main aspects in the original birth chart of this eclipse was a Mars-Pluto square, and also Pluto was trine the eclipse. Bernadette Brady, in the book Predictive Astrology, The Eagle and the Lark, says that because of this Mars-Pluto square trining the eclipse, immense power and anger is channeled into this eclipse series. It could be that enormous obstacles are cleared very quickly, or it could be that some crisis arises very quickly as well. In any event, it's the speed of the events that would be prominent because of that trine between Pluto and the eclipse. Let's accept that as the vibe for this current South Node eclipse in Libra on October 14th. But we'll interpret the birth chart of the eclipse with respect to the current planetary placements, just like we do for our own birth charts. This eclipse in Libra also has a Pluto-Mars square, but this time it's an out-of-sign square, so it means that it looks more like a sextile by element. This could mean that the conflict between Mars and Pluto could be tempered if action is paused until all structures are transformed. That's with respect to whatever this has to do with. Mars is also in a trine separating from Saturn, so that gives extra support for a delay in action until things are in place. The trouble with this is that in a solar eclipse, the energy from the sun is dampened by the moon because the moon is blocking the light of the sun. So that means that conscious, rational mind is not exactly involved in what's going on, and the emotions and habits and patterns of the moon are prominent. And a lot of times, especially with this Pluto square the eclipse, that's going to be hidden emotions that are being dredged up from the past, because the moon also has to do with past things. This eclipse does not have the Pluto trine of the birth chart of the eclipse, so it could be that things are not moving as fast as they did in that first eclipse for this series. As I mentioned before, Pluto is in a square to this eclipse. Now it's in a little bit of a wide degree, maybe by about 6 degrees or so. So what's going to happen is that after the eclipse, the moon is going to hit the south node. That could be an additional pouring out of emotion, just an exhaustion of the emotional response. And then immediately after that, within a day, the moon is going to square Pluto. So that could again bring up intense emotions, or some external event could occur that would bring up some sort of power struggle, and something being controlled on one end brings up aggression, passion, anger on the other side, and there's a conflict, and something has to be done to resolve it. And it could be that this is a very emotional thing. There's a strong theme of fighting against some sort of power and control in this, and there's a strong conflict. And what I am suggesting is that there needs to be some conscious, even though it'll be difficult to reach conscious mind during this, but there should be some conscious mind about sitting back and waiting until things could be strategized and resolved before taking action, and be certain not to act out of these old emotions that could be triggered during this event. In about a week after this eclipse, it's maybe closer to about 5 or 6 days, there will be an opportunity for some unique insight when Mercury comes cazimi with a cazimi conjunction with the sun. And so at that point, it will still be square Pluto. So we're still in this conflict of some sort of power control, power struggle, but you may get some deep insight about what we can do about it, how to communicate about it, and how to move forward from it as the sun moves out of that square with Pluto. Because the energy around eclipses is chaotic and unpredictable, of course, we can't say what will happen or when things will happen. We do know that one area of life will be emphasized, and that's based on where the Libra part of your chart shows up. Which house does that show up? And so typically that area will receive a spotlight over the next year and a half. In the next video, I'll talk about who is most likely to see the most impact from this eclipse. See you soon.